been slain. Enemy killing. Our turret is under attack. Enemy attack. The enemy has slain the turtle. The enemy has slain the turtle.
Hey guys, so a lot of times you end up having a team that just like feeding the enemy teams a lot in the early game, and then you have the dilemma to help them and lose farm, or to get trash talk. Well, in this video I will give you some very specific tips that if you follow them, you will see that your chance of winning is way more likely even with feeder teammates. In this game I will be using 1-1, and as you probably already know, she's not the strongest marksman in the early game. But I will give you some tips so you can overcome this disadvantage. These are my builds and emblem setup. If you see that your team is feeding a lot in the early game, try your best to keep up with the enemy's farm and make sure to not die. When you die, you lose a lot of time, which means less farm. You will see that in this game, my middle lane is going to end up feeding the enemy team middle lane quite a lot. When you are playing a carry role, if your team is falling way behind in the early game, then just prioritize on your farm first. There's no point in joining the team fight if your team is already behind, because your team is already at a disadvantage. So what you can do is make sure you farm your core items and gank those who are out of position. Only join the team fights when you see there's a good chance to win the fight. If it's already too late, don't even bother. Use the distraction to get objective and farm instead. If you see this happen, try your best to win your lane. Not only just passively farm the lane, but try your hardest to kill the enemy hero from your lane and deny his farm as much as possible. In this game you will be able to see that I will constantly harass him and make sure he doesn't get any free crap. I know I am playing against Sun, a very non-meta hero, but the basic idea remains the same. Even if I was facing against a Leomord, Jawhead, Export, Uranus, I would still play very aggressively and not allow them to farm comfortably. Remember, delaying the enemy's farm is the same as you gaining more advantage. Learn when you should farm and when you should help your team, and oftentimes it depends on the hero you are using. For example, Wanwan is a hero that needs at least her first core item to actually deal a decent amount of damage. Same case for Claude. So if you are using one of these heroes, they need a core item before being able to do anything quite significant, then just farm that item first before joining the team fights. Unless you see that there's a very high chance that you could get a kill. But there are other carry heroes that shine right from the start, such as Granger. In that case, if you think your presence will make a huge difference in the fight, then go help your team. But as a rule of thumb, don't leave your lane to join team fights until you manage to take down the lane's turret. If the enemy is way ahead, there's a high chance they will try to gain your lane next, so always pay attention to where the enemies are at all times. Here you can see that instead of taking the crab, I saw that 2 of the enemies were missing from the middle lane, so there was a high chance they were coming to the bottom lane to gank me. But once I saw that they're back in the middle lane, now I have the freedom to take the crab, and even keep farming the bottom lane. It's important to always pay attention to the map and make the right decision. Even if your team is feeding a lot in the early game, if you are able to keep up with the farm, the chance of making a comeback is very likely. Don't waste too much idle time. If there is no chance to get a kill, just go back to your lane and push it instead. But there's a disadvantage in this kind of playstyle. You will get trash talk a lot by your teammates, and you really have to be extremely confident in your positioning and in-game decision, because one mistake and everything will just crumble. You are not allowed to make a single mistake, at least until your team is not that far behind. Once you get 1 or 2 core items, you can start joining the team fights. If you see the enemies are distracted, push the lane. If you're able to kill some of the enemies, get objective. If your team is turret diving and the enemies are fighting them, destroy a turret first, then join the fight.
NANI?!
Make sure to ignore all the trash talk, and if you think it's too distracting, just mute them. I have been in this situation a lot. Players just like to blame others when they're in the losing position. So now, whenever my team is losing, subconsciously my eyes doesn't look at the chat because I know it's just all bunch of nonsense. And not only until I rewatch the gameplay that I actually notice what they have been saying during the game.
Launch attack! An ally has been slain. Wouldn't it be fun? An enemy has been slain. Your team destroyed a monster kill. An enemy has been slain. Stop spreading rumors. Request backup.
This game is all about timing. If you're playing the carry role, the enemy will often try to kill you first. So if you're playing against a lot of heroes with a lot of burst damage, like Luo Yi, then wait for the right timing before joining the fight.
Your team destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain. An ally has slain. Godlike. Launch attack.
No! God, please, no!
Initiate retreat. An ally has been slain. Launch attack. You have slain an enemy. Double kill. Enemy killing spree. Your team destroyed a turret.
Last but perhaps the most important tip, continue watching my videos so you will know what to do in all kind of situations. And I heard that liking the video and subscribing to the channel will help you unlock your inner ability. Winky face.